Okay, we're on the Highline Trail from Ross Lake. We're headed towards Lake Louise. It's about 6 o'clock in the evening. It's getting close to dark. And this has been a great trail. We've come to this water feature, but I just had to get a look at this. Here's a tree stuck in this tree, and it's been cut off right here. Feels kind of unsafe to come under it, but we just did. Anyway. Yeah, it's like a little canyon in here. Little bridge. A little bit of a view. I don't know if it's going to show up, but yeah, ice is building up. Very cool. Alright, I went on a really nice day hike, about 18 kilometers, Ross Lake Trail. I made it a loop by taking the old 1A highway and went to Ross Lake, and then came back on the Highline Trail, Ross Lake Trail, down to Lake Louise Chateau. And so I thought I'd just show you some of the gear. It's just a day trip, Canadian Rockies, pretty close to civilization. But I was solo, so I had quite a bit of extra stuff. And this is, right now, it's in the 14-pound range. So we'll just go through it as quick as I can. A couple of water bottles. This pocket here is representative of some of the food. This pocket has nothing in it. This pocket has got a few little things in it. Got a small little bag containing sunscreen and lip screen. I don't like having a lot of things hanging off my shoulder straps, but it's not rag, works well. This is one I made myself. It's nice and soft, not the greatest color, but it's made out of fleece. Just reinforced the corner and made a loop. What else we got here? So on this big pocket, there's some shelter. It's a poncho. It does work as a tarp for sure. It's on the smaller side, but gets the job done. A cordage kit, in case you have to use it as a shelter. And then here is just a bag I made. It's just waxed cotton. And in it I've got some stakes. The ground is frozen for sure right now. So I've just got some 6-inch nails. You need something to pound into the frozen ground. And then on the back, I take this. It's got a couple panels cut off of it. But it's definitely some insulation if I was having to spend the night out. But mainly I really like to use it when I stop for a break. It's a good size to get, you know, stretched out on. Here's my map. This carabiner is a locking carabiner, and I'll use it to hang my spikes on if I'm not using them. The other really cool thing I like about this pack is it's got this little spot here. And it holds my gossamer gear. Torso pad. This thing's as old as can be. I don't know, it's probably close to 15 years. Kind of got a few burn holes in it, but awesome piece of gear. Great for sitting on. Great torso pad. And the other really good thing I like about this pack is the adjustability of the torso length. I won't buy a pack anymore unless it's able to do that. I've had to send way too many packs back and had to sell them because they just didn't fit. So I really like having this adjustable torso. So we'll go inside here. This pack is very old, and I'm starting to have plastic issues Buckle's breaking. I've replaced the main one on the belt. No, this one's gone. It just happened on this trip. So this pack does have an aluminum frame. I have a small light here. If you've ever had headlamp issues and had to find batteries or such, you need light, so you got to look in your pack for stuff. It's kind of a carryover of that. Here I've got a small cook kit. It's just basically some fire starter and a stainless steel pot. I think it's around 750 milliliter. This is where I double up on rain gear quite often. This is a Frog Togs jacket. I really like it under a poncho if there is precipitation. It blocks the wind. They're great jackets. They're just not made to bushwhack, that's for sure. But they're great underneath something. If I'm cold or there is some precipitation, we've got these really inexpensive pants from Walmart. They're like $12. They're polyester, so by nature they shed water pretty well, but they do have a polyurethane coating on the inside. It's got zippers on the cuffs at your feet, so you can get them on and off fairly easily. I keep those readily available at the top of my pack. Here's it's pretty heavy ground sheet, but it's made out of cotton. I've waxed it. It's really comfortable, it doesn't slide around, so I use it a lot to sit on during breaks, especially if there's snow. Makes a big difference. And then there's this package here, which we'll kind of go into it. This is kind of if I need something right away. So I've got some gloves for camp. They got the fingers cut out, an extra buff. Here's some rain chaps. Here's some shell mitts. I made these myself also. Extra pair of gloves. And here's my first aid and gear repair kit. It's just two stuff sacks sewn together, basically. Works really well. Here's some chemical heaters to keep my hands and feet warm. Some toilet paper. And then I have this pack liner. It's a compactor bag, not a contractor bag, compactor bag. This thing's like over 10 years old. It's got one little hole in it that I taped. It still works wonderful for day trips. I don't mind using it at all. So in this stuff sack, this is kind of the stuff that I need for if I had to stay out by myself. When you're solo, no one's going to save your ass by going and getting some help. There's just nobody there. So you're by yourself. You gotta fight for yourself. So here's a puffy jacket. It's down. It's a Superstore special. I don't know how. This is probably 10-year-old jacket also. I don't know for sure, but I would say it's either 650 powered down, maybe 700. It's decent. It's got pockets, nice soft nylon shell. It's a great jacket for, on sale, 20 bucks. I bought several of them. Yeah. It's a puffy jacket. Keeps you warm when you're sitting around doing nothing, and if I had to sleep out overnight, this would help immensely. So here's an extra pair of dry gloves, a little bit of wool. Here's a nice balaclava. It's got a face piece on here that'll go over your nose, keep your nose warm. What else have we got in here? Here's some lighting. One of these sticks. Give them a crack. They'll have light for a while. The other thing I take in every outing is these vapor barrier for my feet, and they're just freezer bags with the tops cut off. They work extremely well. I've hiked many miles and not had them give out, so they work for me really well. Here's some more chemical heaters if I had to spend the night out. Something for my toes, and these are just the big body warmer ones. So the hope is just to get 4 hours of sleep. That's probably doable. Anything more than that, you know, like these numbers are given here, like 6 hours for the toe warmers. That's bull. These ones I can't say as I've tried them, but I highly doubt that they last 14 or 12 hours. I just don't think. I've used many of them, and they just don't do it. Let's keep everything fresh. Then I got a dry pair of liner socks. These are merino wool, and that's it for the bag. And this is the Mylar bivy sack. This thing is way better than a blanket. You know, you can get fully covered by this, and it actually does work. I have used it many times actually, and it works. Is it going to save my ass when it's 20 below? Not likely. But, you know, around 0 or something like that, 5 below, yeah, I have a chance as long as I have, you know, some other clothing to help out, and good insulation from the ground. It's doable. I think this is pretty much the last item. So this is a quilt. I made it myself, and it's one of the first quilts I ever made. It's got really nice fabric. It's a 10D. It's very lightweight. The insulation is Primaloft, 3 ounces per square yard, so it's certainly not extremely warm, but I'm quite happy with it. It does a good job. And I've made this thing, I've cut it up and I've added things and I've changed things, and so this has been a huge experiment, and I've kind of ended up with this as it is now. So the foot box just closes with you know, cord locks. Got a couple of snaps here to keep the bottom end around where your feet and legs are tight. There's a couple more along here too, but then we've got this piece here on top, which I added on. At one time this was just an elephant's foot bag, so it was just meant to keep the bottom 2/3 of my sleeping system, you know, warm. And then I decided to add this top piece, so I had full coverage, and it's just snapped together. So yeah, there's holes. It's certainly not draft proof, but it's better than nothing. And this piece here that you can snap off of, actually you can use it as an insulated skirt. What it was in the beginning was a cover for my dogs. I used to take my dogs hunting. I had pointing dogs. They were awesome, and this is what I used to cover them up. This simple blanket. But we've decided to add that on. And the other thing that this does is it's multi-purpose. This is a neck hole, so it is a poncho liner. It's extremely warm. I use it a lot in shoulder season as a poncho liner. It is a tremendous heat retainer for under a poncho or a casual. It's awesome. And this goes around the neck, so it really holds in heat well. It's got a nice collar there. So yeah, that's my kind of emergency multi-purpose quilt. Quite often shoulder seasons I'll take it on overnight trips also, and use it as an overcoat. It does a tremendous job of that. And the only other thing I have in the bottom of almost all my packs, I do the same thing. I put in some kind of a garbage bag. And you know, the garbage bag can be used for many things, but the main purpose in my mind is if I'm in a camping situation and my pack is soaking wet, I'll put the bag over top of it just so I don't get everything else wet. That's really the most use I've gotten out of these bags, but you never know. You know, it could be a ground sheet, could be a lot of things. So yeah, that's it. Day hike, Canadian Rockies. So one piece of gear that was pretty important to have although I barely used it. It was just the last, I think it was 1.5 kilometers, it got dark on me. But that's lighting. So on this trip I had this on my belt, wasn't in my pack, and this is a Convoy T4, uses two double A size batteries, but they're actually lithium ion cells, 14500s. It's quite a bright light, but it's got a really good run time with these batteries. It's one of the reasons I took it. If I needed it, it was there. And the other one I had was in my pouch, my front pouch. There's a spare battery in here. It's not Tylenol or Advil. It's the same size battery of 14500. This is an Ace Beam headlamp. I really like it. It's got the 3 bands on it. It's got silicone waves on it. It holds itself in position really well. It's a very bright headlamp, and it has a ramping feature. Instead of clicking up, it ramps up and ramps down, so it's a really smooth transition. I've got a couple of these, real nice headlamps. I've been really happy with them. So yeah, that's my lighting setup for this trip. Typically I would take a little bit more. Yeah, it depends. I like having 2 headlamps, but on this occasion I only took the 1.